India is currently going through a quick commerce revolution. Now, let me ask you this question. If you are living in a metropolitan area, a tier 1 city, in an area like Delhi, Bangalore, Chandigarh, let me know in last 1 month how many times you have visited outside to buy your local groceries. The number of times would be abysmally low if we compare it to the last 10 years. The reason is the overtaking of e-commerce by the quick commerce platforms. So simply speaking, quick commerce, that is Q-commerce, is a disruptive business model under the landscape of e-commerce in our country, which typically delivers goods and services at our household in 10 to 30 minutes and sometimes under 10 minutes as well. Now, the quick commerce market in India is valued upwards of $3.3 billion as of 2024, and it is expected to reach around $10 billion by the year 2029, showing an year-on-year growth rate of more than 75%, which shows the huge potential, the massive potential of the breakthrough industry of the country, that is quick commerce. Now, this involves ultra-fast delivery of goods and services, which means it helps in instant gratification for the consumer's demand. Whenever consumer demands a goods and services instantly under 5 minutes, under 10 minutes, these apps, which you must have heard of Zepto, Big Basket, Blinkit, Instamart, Swiggy, Instamart, or other apps as well, they are catering to the instant gratification demand of individuals through these quick commerce apps. Right now, the quick commerce industry is limited to fast-moving consumer goods, that is FMCG goods, but it's expanding its reach to groceries, to retail, to clothing, to fashion accessory, to electronic products as well, and to other different products, medicines, and different services as well, like instant services of getting a house help under 10 minutes, getting a cook under 10 minutes. All these things, services and goods, are being provided to the people, especially in the metropolitan areas. It is providing quick commerce delivery of goods and services under a period of 10 minutes. So what are the key opportunities available with quick commerce? What are the key issues involved in quick commerce? And how, as a country, we can regulate quick commerce effectively so as to ensure that it helps the public and doesn't destroy the local traditional brick and mortar stores of the country, how to regulate them properly, and what is the way forward, that how we can enhance the quick commerce industry and e-commerce industry of our country even further. All these things we'll be trying to understand in this particular session. Hello, my name is Pripal Singh and you are watching Perspective. Now, this all can be traced back during the time of COVID. Now, during COVID, when lockdown was imposed, people were not allowed to step outside their houses. At that period of time, this delivery services, delivery of goods and delivery of services at the people's doorstep became quite common. And at that point of time, two apps, that is Amazon and Flipkart, they gained a lot of proximity. But eventually, several quick commerce platforms, they were soon to arrive in this particular landscape. And they started delivering goods and services in a period of 10 minutes to 15 minutes at people's houses, which made ease of transaction very, very simple and ease of transaction very, very superior, which is why eventually from COVID-19 till now, till the year 2025, we can track the emergence of e-commerce and quick commerce platforms in our country to a very, very great scale. Now, Flipkart, who was facing a lot of stiff competition due to quick commerce companies, was very adaptive in launching again a quick commerce business under Flipkart. We call it as Flipkart Minutes, which is why several other e-commerce platforms as well, like Myntra, has also launched one of the platform for quick commerce. And like this, there are different other e-commerce, traditional e-commerce platforms, which are now venturing into quick commerce, because right now the era is of instant gratification. Now, recently, when iPhone 16 was launched, from Blinkit and other instant delivery apps, we can get an iPhone under 10 minutes. So those people who were waiting outside the stores of Apple to get an iPhone, those people could have just from their mobile phone applications, they could have ordered the goods or services from these online ultra-fast delivery apps. Now, if we talk about the opportunities, the biggest opportunity available for these e-commerce platforms, for these quick commerce platforms, is that they ensure urban consumer convenience. Now, quick commerce caters to the growing demand of ultra-fast delivery for the urban consumers in the country. Now, it is better for the urban consumer today to sit back at the comfort of their homes and order goods and services which will reach to them in the next 5 to 10 minutes, rather than to go down, get into the car, get into the scooter, and then go out, venture out, select the items, then get back to the house, and so much efforts needs to be put in. Other than doing this, you could just open your mobile screen, you can order the grocery, you can order the food, you can order electronics, you can order clothes and whatnot from these apps, and everything would be delivered at your doorstep. You don't have to even go out of your house. It will be delivered at your doorstep in next 10 to 15 minutes. So that is ultra convenience to the urban consumers, which is what they want after such a hectic lifestyle of earning livelihood and getting salaries and working day and night. Now, one more key reason why quick commerce is becoming popular is due to the rising internet penetration in the country. So, change in internet landscape and change in the telecommunication landscape after the advent of Jio, again, which was a major breakthrough in the telecommunication services of the country. After this, in 2025, around 900 million users of internet are there in our country. Out of the population of 1.4 billion people, around 900 million people are actively using internet, which means the market for these quick commerce platform is very, very wide, because those who are using internet would be having a smartphone and would be using these applications. Now, amongst these people, definitely the quick commerce would want to spread their market as much as possible. And as I told you earlier, that it is growing year on year of more than 70%. So more than 70% growth in quick commerce can be seen on a year-on-year basis, which is massive, huge growth. And also, other than this, the biggest opportunity which this e-commerce and quick commerce platforms has provided is to boosting the gig economy and also to provide employment to people with lesser skills. So all these delivery people, delivery executives and delivery partners which you see, which are engaged in Zomato, which are engaged in Swiggy, which are engaged in Blinkit, Zepto, Big Basket, all the other platforms, these delivery partners would usually be unemployed if these companies were not there. So basically this economy which they have created, gig economy, gig workers, this economy has benefited a lot because of these companies. And as Niti Aayog's report on the gig economy has suggested, that India's gig workforce is to be reaching around 25 million people by the year 2029-2030, which means that the gig economy is poised to grow even higher in the next 5 years. Also, the growth of quick commerce, it has opened a lot of avenues and opportunities for employment in part-time, full-time or night shift basis for those who want to earn extra income. So for them also, this is a good platform for earning their livelihoods. Especially if you have a bike or a scooter or even a cycle, you can register on any of these platforms and you can become a delivery partner, which is again a good initiative taken by all of these things or taken by all of these companies in order to boost and promote employment opportunities in the country. So other than catering to the consumer demands, instant gratification of the consumers, helping the gig economy, helping the employment, this e-commerce platforms and quick commerce platforms, they've also integrated very well to the artificial intelligence. So also they're driving innovation and technological revolution in the country as well. Because every few days, every few weeks, they come up with a newer technology. They come up with a chatbot. They come up with the artificial intelligence related assistant who assists you in what all products you want. And from all the things, robotics and machine learning is very important tool. It's a very important tool which is used by these quick commerce platforms to give us recommendations based on our order history and based on our previous history. Suggestions are given to us which are artificial intelligence generated. Also, drone-based delivery technologies are also being tested on the pilot basis for these applications. And if this is implemented in India at a huge scale, again, that would be another path-breaking move. That is delivery to be done through drones. Also, one more thing other than all these things is that they are also expanding in tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. So, e-commerce platforms, quick commerce platforms, due to the immense potential, they are expanding because of the internet penetration, of course. They are expanding and okay to expand in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of the country as well. And also, you'll be startled to know that tier 2 and tier 3 cities, they accounted for overall 60% of the overall demand for quick commerce in the year 2023, which is humongous and very huge, because ideally we believe that the most of the demand would be coming from tier 1 cities. But here tier 2 and tier 3 cities, they form around 60% of the quick commerce demand, which is again a startling fact which you should know. Plus, other than all these things, definitely these quick commerce platforms, they are supporting emergency and essential deliveries as well. For example, the delivery of medicines. Now, there are a lot of platforms who deliver medicine today under 1 hour, under 30 minutes, and this can help in the cases of emergencies, which is again a very good move by these platforms. And all of these things combined are helping building the startup ecosystem of the country, where each of the companies wanting to become a unicorn, eventually in long run, it is very good for our overall economy, because the more unicorns we have, the more billionaires we have in the country. And the more billionaires we have in the country due to trickle down impact, more employment would be generated, more wealth will be created, and eventually the GDP of the country, through consumption and investment, GDP of the country would increase, which would increase the growth rate of the country, which would definitely help us in becoming a developed economy by the year 2047. So all these things are very much correlated. And the e-commerce or the quick commerce platform, to so to say, and quick commerce revolution in the country, so to say, is helping a lot in this developed economy by 2047 vision of our country. Now, while it will help in the domestic industry, while it will help in the startup ecosystem of the country, in the industrial development of the domestic industries in our country, it will also boost our exports. Because these quick commerce platforms, what are they doing? They are improving the productive capacities of our country as well. Through the dark stores and through the manufacturing process in bulk, the manufacturing process of the country would improve. And if that would improve, eventually our exports would also be higher. And also this quick commerce can be in relation to exports also. That is quick exports. And if that is promoted, eventually India's export revenue would be very high and we'll be earning foreign exchange reserves for our country, which is again a good initiative and a good move. Also, these companies, when they explore the foreign markets, it would help India to get on the global e-commerce platform map as well. So the global e-commerce map, India would have a prominent role to play if all these companies, they venture out in other countries, other areas like Southeast Asia, South Asia, or other western parts of the world as well, different parts. But while we have discussed a lot about the opportunities and what e-commerce platforms or quick commerce platforms are doing for the country, are doing for the betterment of the people, there are several concerns as well. There are several challenges and issues associated with these quick commerce platforms, and there have been several allegations leveled against them as well. The first biggest allegation and the biggest issue concerning this quick commerce platform is predatory pricing and also price gouging. Now, All India Consumer Products Distribution Federation, they have accused the quick commerce platforms for predatory pricing. That means reducing the price to an extent that it weeds out the competition. So basically, anti-competitive activities to get as maximum market share as possible. So right now, you know as how the startup culture is working. The startup culture right now, most of the startups, they are not working for profits. They are going the Amazon way. That first they will capture the market. After capturing the market, slowly and steadily, initially while they are loss making because they want to capture the market. Once the market is captured, slowly and steadily they will turn into profit and they will turn into a profit making enterprise. But all the companies can't do what Amazon has been able to do, which is why many of the startups in our country, you see, they are loss making and eventually they die down and eventually they become bankrupt. The biggest example recently we have seen with one of the edutainment platform or one of the educational startups as well. So this process where initially the prices are lowered down to weed out the competition and eventually the prices increase so that they want to cover the initial losses which they face, this thing is known as price gouging, which is again an illegal anti-competitive activity. And this predatory pricing and price gouging, both of these things are leading to market manipulation at a very huge level, at a very high level. And who's getting impacted? The local Kiryana stores, the local grocery stores of the country. So there is second point which is in relation to the local grocery stores. Now, because of the advent of the quick commerce platforms, who has lost their jobs and who has lost the business? The local grocery stores. Because that is what the first question I asked you, that how many of you now go to the local grocery store to get, let's say, your food items, to get your food processed items, to get the groceries or to get the vegetables, fruits, all these things. Very few of you, especially in tier 1, tier 2 regions. If you have access to these particular apps, you don't usually venture out. And because of this, the local grocery stores are shutting down at a massive scale and they are going out of business. So the traditional businesses which were going on since last 20 years, 30 years, they are coming down, they are shutting down, they are shutting up. And eventually, the impact on small retailers is really bad, which is to an extent reducing the level of employment in the economy as well. So these are the two biggest concerns and biggest issues in relation to the quick commerce platforms. Now, third, again very prominent issue is in relation to workers' exploitation and unfair labor practices. Now, these quick commerce platforms, again several allegations have been leveled against them that to meet this ultra fast delivery targets, the workers, the gig workers, the platform delivery agents, they are exploited a lot. Their wages are very low, plus they are given incentive if they are able to deliver ultra high speed food deliveries or ultra high speed fast delivery targets are met. In that way, exploitation of these workers happen because they feel immense pressure amongst themselves, and which compromises their safety and well-being at times as well, which is again extremely bad for their health concerns and for their entire well-being. So this gig-based model, it is usually termed as unsafe, and it is usually lacking labor protection. Now, there have been certain laws, Code on Social Security 2020 by the Government of India, but still, the gig worker economy or the gig economy, labor protection is still a long way in the gig economy. And the working conditions, they are usually unsafe with improper social security, improper insurances, improper fixed salaries, and the working conditions are also not very specified. So, in a way, we can categorize it into an informal sector. Also, above all, the pay and the benefits for the delivery agents, they are also abysmally low. Even if they work for 10 hours, 12 hours, 13 hours, 15 hours a day, they are not able to earn more than 500, 600, or even 1000 rupees a day, which is again abysmally low, which makes their wages, the cost to benefit ratio which they get, that is very low because they have to put more labor, but they earn very less money. And sometimes, again, due to these exploitative practices by the companies, they lose out on that money as well if they fail to meet their delivery targets. So, in relation to the labor law, in relation to labor safety, labor protection, again, quick commerce is a cause of concern. Now, on the basis of these 3 points, these 3 key issues, there is one more issue which many experts point out, many reports have pointed out, and said that this quick commerce platform, in long run, it is unsustainable. The reason is high cash burn. Now, cash burn means that these companies, they're spending high volumes of money, billions of dollars initially, in order to acquire customer. But eventually, after the customer is acquired, you need to retain the customer. But eventually, the benefits, when they are pulled out, the customer retention goes down. And because the competition is so stiff that if one company loses out on money, other company comes with fresher funding, and that company takes the market share. So the initial company who lost a lot of money, who incurred losses initially, because they thought that after a period of time we'll be able to recover, they're not able to recover. Because the consumers, they shift from one company to another company. Wherever the consumers will find lesser price, they will shift. So again, that is a cause of concern, that unsustainability of the business model. That the business model, usually it is not sustainable because of heavy discounts due to cash burn and also investor funding, which eventually dries down and the company has to shut down. Also, one more big allegation which is leveled against these companies is that of algorithmic pricing. That means price differentials, differential pricing from different types and classes of consumer. For example, if you open any of these apps in your iPhone, compared to if you open the same app in your Android phone, there would be a price differentiation. Also, based on the order habits of the consumer, based on the area which they are situated, different prices are charged from different consumers. Again, which is a cause of concern, that it is leading to loss of equality. Now, they are using artificial intelligence models, they are using big data, which leads to driven pricing models. And this can lead to differential pricing. And in economics, we call it as price differentiation. So it can lead to price differentiation as well, based on your shopping pattern, based on your location, based on the device type which you're using, and so on. Again, which is a very big cause of concern. And also the last cause of concern would be that it's limited penetration right now in tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Now, tier 2, tier 3 cities definitely make a large chunk for the volume of demand for these quick commerce platforms. But still, the penetration of these quick commerce platforms in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, it's abysmally low still. In tier 1 cities also, there are some areas where these quick commerce platforms are not actually rampant and they don't deliver. In tier 2 cities, tier 3 cities, where the requirement of e-commerce is there, it is still not present in a massive way, which needs to be promoted definitely by the government. But now, logically, the next question is that now, since we have seen the opportunities, we have seen the benefits, we have seen the negatives also, we have seen the challenges, issues in relation to the quick commerce. Now, the question is, how does the government regulate this quick commerce industry? The simple solution is going target by target. That is focusing on one aspect of quick commerce and having a regulation for that. And also an overall legislation, overall regulation for the quick commerce platforms or for the e-commerce platforms, so to say, in our country should be developed in order to ensure proper regulation and enhancement of these platforms rather than curtailing them. And above all these things, labor laws and implementation of labor protection for the gig economy, for the gig workers, and for delivery personnel in these quick commerce platforms needs to be there. Now, this can definitely be achieved if we enforce properly the provisions of the Code on Social Security of 2020, which provides social security and the benefits to gig and platform workers. So that needs to be enhanced and that needs to be promoted. Also, one more thing is regulatory oversight. Because see, many quick commerce platforms, they're engaged in predatory pricing, they're engaged in price gouging, and they're leading to basically market interventions and market reaching a disequilibrium. This can be done better and this can be cured if Competition Commission of India CCI intervenes, forms a sub body under it, or takes the charge of regulating these quick commerce industries and ensuring that the unfair practices which these quick commerce industries are indulged in, quick commerce companies are indulged in, they are done away with. And this predatory pricing, price gouging, and plus algorithmic pricing, price differentiation, all these things are regulated properly, and what is ensured is equitable distribution of pricing and goods and services all across. So basically, pricing, competition, and data privacy needs to be monitored by a regulatory authority. There might be a new regulatory authority for e-commerce platforms, or can be done by the Competition Commission of India as well. Also, one more thing is the threat to the traditional retail sector. The local kirana stores, the local grocery stores, they are facing a stiff competition. And how these quick commerce platforms they actually work is that they are having dark stores, massive dark stores, where they are storing all these quick commerce items, goods. Now, these dark stores can be merged with these local grocery stores so that local grocery stores don't lose out on business. And sourcing of the product for these companies can be done from those local grocery stores so that they don't shut, unemployment don't rise in the country, and eventually they earn their livelihood as well. Because they're facing a stiff competition from all these quick commerce platforms, and they're not able to sell any of the goods and services, which is why the shops are closing down. And now coming to the consumers. Now for the consumers, a standardized grievance redressal mechanism needs to be in place like a consumer protection authority, because whenever any untoward incident, whenever any emergency situation or any situation which is against the interest of the consumer takes place, a regulatory authority can take an action against these quick commerce companies. Because with power comes great responsibilities, which is why they need to be held responsible if they are penetrating so much in the lives of the daily common public. Which is why regulatory oversight is quintessential, is very important. And while we were talking about the small businesses, there is one platform introduced by the government, that is ONDC, that is Open Network for Digital Commerce. Now, under this platform's framework, this framework can be used to integrate small businesses into the organized retail ecosystem and to make sure that they're a part of this quick commerce revolution and they're not out of it. And they don't suffer because of this quick commerce revolution. But altogether, everyone gains. The producers, the retailers, the wholesalers, and the consumers as well. All of us should gain and try to increase the size of the pie rather than redistribute the pie amongst ourselves. Now, as industries in the modern time, they are evolving each and every second, each and every minute. Quick commerce definitely will have a very vital role to play in this. And it will have an increasingly important role in India's retail future and India's retail landscape, especially in the e-commerce industry. Now, these quick commerce might in future shift to brick and mortar landscape, brick and mortar stores as well. But the point is one, that their growth needs to be leveraged, needs to be promoted, and the benefit to the public should be as much as possible. So our focus should be to increase the opportunities, enhance the opportunities, take care of the issues, solve the issues, and ensure that proper government intervention, minimal government intervention, is ensuring better outcomes in the overall capitalist market. Because if that is ensured, then we'll be able to ensure better outcomes for all and equilibrium will be there in the market naturally. So what are your thoughts around the quick commerce industry spread in our country and quick commerce revolution? Please let me know in the comment section. I'll be very happy to read your comments. All the very best. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.